So if you are just joining the party, this is something we've been talking about for over a year now. Even with all of the especially with all the Big 12 stuff that broke about a year ago, that's when we really started to delve into this. Then obviously the Big 12 had to reorganize, and it's turned into what it's turned into. And we've been talking about all these different parts of this for months and months. And, just when it looked like it was all dying and it was starting to slow down and settle down and everybody's going to go to their corners and just play it out, massive news today.
And look, if for the super conference theory to work, it means that one conference has to die, right?
Because there's 65, what you call the Power Five, the A5 teams, including Notre Dame.
Yeah. So for that to work,
you're not going to boot some teams out. I mean, that's the thing. How much do you restrict it down to where, how low do you want to go? Do you want to have two conferences of 24? If the SEC and the Big Ten, they're the assumed, right, Paul? They're the assumed top dogs. I've seen the people talk about, it's the NFC, AFC. We had this conversation 2 weeks ago. We called it just that, the NFC and the AFC. And if that's the direction, but I don't know, it seems like it would be kind of hard to do that. But yeah, if the Pac-12 falls apart, there's going to be the Big 12 looking to pick up scraps. There's going to be the Big 10 obviously taking teams, and you'd have to wonder not about the Big 12 because they've already made their move and could make further moves that only further solidify them. But the ACC, like I said, does the SEC come calling and go, wait a second, we got to go get Clemson and go get FSU, go get Miami? I mean, the possibilities are endless.
With all the new TV deals coming up, this also is spurned by that, right? And also the Big Ten says, you want Texas and Oklahoma, we probably can't get that, so we'll go get USC and UCLA. Maybe that's been going on for a year. There are two conferences that are not dissolving, for sure. We know that. The Big Ten and the SEC are only going to get bigger, better, faster and stronger, and that's why the other three have to figure out a way. And yes, if you're Brett Yormark, you're like, hey, welcome to being a part of a commissioner of collegiate sports, and maybe he's already got some things up his sleeve. I don't know, but I do know this. One of the things that we will hear is a lot of, hey, I've heard, or someone. Be very careful, because if we would have listened to everybody, including you and others, last year in July and August, we would not be talking about a Big 12. And so we don't know what's going to happen, but yes, nothing is sacred. It'll be kind of fun to watch.
If I'm Brett Yormark, I am licking my freaking chops. Are you kidding? I'm glad that this is how my tenure's starting off. I can swoop in and maybe solidify this bad boy for the next 30 years. I mean, no, not that long, but you know what I'm saying. For the next 15 to 20, you can make the Big 12. You can solidly solidify the Big 12 as the number 3. Easily.
Look, here's what's going on right now, and this is what people may have failed to realize is the Pac-12 and Big 10 are both in simultaneous TV negotiations. Yep. One of them has a lot of power. One of them is hoping to get it or hoping to improve their situation. The Big 12 is not in theirs yet, which on the surface can seem like a bad thing because they've got to wait, but now because they can wait, and here's the other thing, there's a Power 5 conference that's got a grant of rights until 2036 that can't get involved in this at all. They can't swoop in and be like, hey, whoa, what about us? The only thing that the ACC could do, and I'm sure they maybe have a monthly call to Notre Dame saying, you guys want to get in for football now? Do you guys want to get in for football now?
Yeah. ACC, somebody just put that on the chat. That's a very good point. They got to be on their hands and knees right now with Notre Dame. And Notre Dame for my purposes, and this is maybe just because I haven't maybe changed with the times, I always thought if Notre Dame was to ever join a conference, it would be the Big Ten. And maybe because of where they are, but we know that now USC and UCLA being a part of the Big Ten, so regionality means nothing.
Well, it can still be if you think about it. If the Big Ten's not done, I mean, all due respect to Oregon and Washington, but Notre Dame trumps them combined. Yeah. So, if they're not done and Notre Dame sees, okay, the spots are getting limited, there could be 3 conferences and Notre Dame could walk to any of them at any time and go, we want in, and they'll go, okay, come on in. It doesn't matter. Well, we got uneven amount of teams. Doesn't matter. It's Notre Dame. But, yeah, if they would be the domino if they all of a sudden spoke up and said, well, we would like a spot somewhere. Big 10 get on their knees. ACC would get on there. Big 12 would get on there. Anybody would.
The thing about Notre Dame is they shouldn't do that until they're absolutely made
No, they don't have to.
They don't have to. Yeah. But this also rings in South Bend. They're like, wait a minute, yet another little earthquake or so. Hey, how about this in college football, right? Just wait another day. Well, there's always something in the last couple of years in college sports with transfer portal, with NIL, that sometimes you almost get numb to or tired of. Then you have the Texas OU story, and then you have this one, and then you have the expansion of the Big 12. And I know to me, I see a lot of this. It makes sense. Well, then they need to go get the Big 12 if they're the ones that grow and if they're the ones that don't get poached. And right now they're in a pretty good situation. But you go Arizona schools, Utah, and Colorado. Those schools have to also want to be a part of it. And Tony Altimore's told us this, that there are maybe some political alignments and beliefs, but if they want to stay relevant and be a part of A5, they might have to change some of what they think. But we've heard that Colorado and the Arizona schools are more aligned with those like Cal and Stanford and others. At least that's what he's told.
I mean, until the bomb goes off, right, Craig?
Yeah, that's before USC and UCLA leave. That's the flag bearer of the conference, the one that has basically saved the Pac-12, according to some of their reporters, with the Lincoln Riley hire. How's that look now?
No.
How's that look?
Yeah.
That looks great for USC still, but that was going to be the big saving grace for the Pac-12, and all its dysfunction was going to be the rise again of USC like a phoenix. And that Phoenix is flying off to Big Ten land, it appears. But
it's not hard to see how this happened. Really.